Welcome to Awaz News. I'm Simona Cotoni and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada. Prime Minister agrees to lift pandemic border measures. Ontario Premier Doug Ford's approval rating drops by 4 points since being elected. A great champion for Richmond Hill, former Mayor Dave Barrow, has died. Canadian dollar slides as investors retreat to US dollars. Son charged after 2 people found dead inside an Etobicoke home. Police make renewed appeal for information in death of Richmond Hill woman in skydiving incident. So those were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details. The federal government has decided to drop the vaccination requirement for people entering Canada and the random COVID-19 testing at airport and make the use of the ArriveCan optional by the end of this month. Earlier this week, the sources told Awaz News that Ottawa was leaning toward ending the measures, but a final decision hadn't been made because it was awaiting the approval of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The current COVID-19 emergency order in Council relating to the border measure was set to expire on September 30th. The government had the option of extending the measures. The government is expected to make an official announcement on Monday. Ontario Premier Doug Ford's approval rating appeared to have taken a dip over the last few months since he was re-elected, according to a News Angus Reid survey. The survey, which was released this morning, suggests Ford's approval rating now sits about at 41%. This is down 4 points from June when the Progressive Conservative Handley won a majority. It's a significant lower than the approval rating Ford enjoyed at the beginning of the pandemic between March and June 2020, when his first approval sat under 70%. Dave Barrow, a former Richmond Hill mayor and councillor who dedicated more than 35 years of his life to public service, has died. The Richmond Hill native and lifelong resident was 75 years old. West, who before being elected as mayor earlier this year served as Richmond Hill councillor for almost a decade, knew Barrow as a colleague and a friend for at least 15 years. The Canadian dollar is sliding lower again, hitting the lows not seen in more than 2 years, a day after the U.S. Federal Reserve raised its key interest rate. The loonie slipped under 75 cents US earlier this week and fell even lower after the Fed raised its key interest rate by 0.75 of a percentage point on Wednesday. Police say a 28-year-old man has been charged in connection with the death of his parents, who were found deceased inside an Etobicoke apartment yesterday. Officers were called to the building located near Bergamot and Islington Avenue around 1:40 a.m. after receiving a call about a stabbing. According to the investigators, a man and a woman were found deceased inside an apartment and a man was found nearby with stab wounds. The injured person was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. This morning, police identified the victims as a 60-year-old Colin Henry and 67-year-old Veronica Henry. Police are renewing their appeal for information following the death of a Toronto area woman who died in skydiving crash in Innisfil, Ontario last month. According to the South Simcoe Police Service, 21-year-old Tanya Perdazzi from Richmond Hill died on August 27th after she was critically injured from jumping out of a plane in the area of 10 Side Road and Line 4. Skydive Toronto Inc. issued a release on the Monday following the fatal incident, confirming the incident involved one of their students. The company said in a statement last month, Perdazzi released a quickly rotating main parachute at a low altitude without the time or the altitude required for the reserve parachute to inflate. Police said Perdazzi was taken to a local hospital but died from the injuries. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Simona Cotoni and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.